Look at this guy. I have a little, I can put it around my neck like a collar. You know those pillows that you guys see when you go on the airplanes? That's what this looks like. These are my zucchini rampicanti, and welcome back to the garden, guys. It's a beautiful morning here, and I thought I'd come out and go ahead and harvest some of my zucchini rampicanti, which is an Italian heirloom that I fell in love with last year. I started planting it, and it is very prolific, and it's wonderful. It has a great taste, and the great thing about it is if you harvest them young like this, they're good to eat and saute, but then as they get older, they'll get a thicker skin and they will last a long time, like a lot of the other squashes you might get, like the butternut squash and the acorn squash. Last year when I planted these late in the season. I planted them middle to the third week in July. So that way the risk of pests bothering these plants is much lower than when you plant them earlier in the season. So I started doing that. I did it last year and it was wonderful. I had a great harvest. And this year it's doing the same thing. I just popped this guy out. It was like the third week in July, and this is the very first part of September. And between 45 and 55 days or so, you start to get fruit. And I have tons of these little zucchini rampicantis, and I am just very happy. So I'm gonna go ahead and harvest some of these today so that we can have some a little later. I just thought it was kind of cool. These are so neat. They come in so many neat shapes and sizes, and they grow so quickly. So I just wanted to show you guys that real quick. But I wanted to bring you guys in here because I want to show you one of my favorite, most versatile, wonderful flowers in the whole entire garden. Real quick here, I need to fix my tomato cages because we had some bad storms and it blew some of them over. And a funny story about this tomato, this is actually the black oxheart tomato. It's an heirloom tomato. And we got this in a survival can from Baker Creek about 10 years ago. And believe it or not, the seeds germinated and they grew because we didn't store them under the best conditions. It was freezing cold, it was really hot, and amazingly enough, this and some melons actually germinated. So I'm really happy about this. But before we get started, I'm going to give you a clue of what I wanted to talk to you guys about. This flower has been revered throughout history because of its culinary, its cosmetic, and its medicinal qualities. Well, did you guys guess what flower it was? It is the marigold. So marigold has been rich in history. They have used it for so much. And it's amazing to see, I guess it's been since the Industrial Revolution, people don't use flowers in their foods and their seasoning and use it as part of, their diet. And I try to use as much as I can because flowers are loaded in nutrition and they do add flavor and zest to your meals. The Romans used to call these calends, and like calendar, because they said that it bloomed at the first of every month. Well, that's where we get the word calendula, because calendula is part of the marigold family. So it's pretty cool how long these guys have been around, and people have been using them. Even the settlers coming over here to America, they found records indicating that they would use it to season their lard. And then they also use it during the Civil War for poultices for their injured soldiers. And in a lot of the herbal books, the early herbal books, it touts about how much vitamin C and phosphorus that is found in these plants and flowers. So what I have done is I made last night a wonderful meal filled with the marigold. Now, one way that you can use these marigolds is to add it to your rice. This is one of my favorite ways to utilize the petals from the marigold, the fresh petals. And all I did was I sauteed some butter with some onions, sauteed them until they kind of turned pearly white or so. And then I went ahead and I got some of the petals from the marigold, cutting them off at the top. You don't want the green part because it tastes kind of bitter. So just cut the petals off. And then I put them in there, and then I went ahead and put my rice. So I did 1 cup of rice to about 2 cups of water. And then I just put the lid on it, brought it to a boil, and then when it was done, I just let it simmer, and it turned into this beautiful rice. It had these lovely petals in it, and it was delicious. Another way, and this is a way that I use most often, is utilizing it and putting it in your salads. So I always like to cut up a bunch of petals and place them in the salad. It makes it look absolutely beautiful. But Doug and I really enjoy taco night. So what I had done was we had a taco salad. And then I put the flower petals in the salad, and then we placed that on top of like the taco meat, and we made a taco salad with the marigold petals, and it turned out great, and it was just a big hit. Another way that you can use your marigold petals is to make a tea. It can either be a hot tea or a cold tea. So all you're gonna do is get your marigold petals, cut them, put them in the bottom of a jar. I used a half-gallon jar, and then I added peppermint. Lemon balm goes good with it too, but I use peppermint. So those two, I poured boiling water over it. I let it steep about 20 minutes or so, and then when I was finished, I just strained the petals and the peppermint, and then you can sweeten it to however you want. I like mine plain, and Doug likes his with honey. You can use maple syrup, or you can use stevia extract, but it works out. It's a nice, delicious drink. Last night we had it warm, and then today we are having it with a little ice in it. Well, we plant marigolds throughout the whole garden because marigolds are a great companion plant for your garden. Especially, they work well for nematodes in the soil. So plants that are affected by that basically are like peppers, like you see here, tomatoes, your okra, your beans. Those would really benefit by having marigolds, but they're very good for all other plants to help deter pests. But it really works really well for the nematodes for those plants that I was mentioning before. But one thing that I think is kind of cool, if people start eating a lot of these flowering plants, especially like the marigolds, when you went back in the stores, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, when you go and you buy bulk herbs, you would have dried marigold petals. You would have a lot of these flowers. People use these flowers. So this is, you know, what I'm trying to do, adding a lot more flowers into my diet, because it's just another way to add more nutrition and flavor into the diet. So why don't you guys leave a comment below if you guys are going to start adding more flowers into your diet to add a little flavor, a little zest. And the cool thing about it is you can use it for flavoring too. You know, put it in some butters and different oils when you're cooking. And it's especially good with eggs. Maybe try it with eggs. Leave a comment if you're going to try it with eggs. Cook your scrambled eggs, put a little marigold petals in it, have it with some toast and jelly, and you got it going on. How fun was that? I showed you guys how to use marigolds in your meals. I even showed you how to make a drink out of marigolds. And I hope this encourages you guys to start planting more flowers in your garden so that you can use them in your meal planning. Well, we have a busy day ahead of us. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and I will see you guys later. Bye.